The Missouri River corridor that winds from Montana through both Dakotas on into Nebraska is a major migration route in the Central Flyway for both Canada geese and mallards. This week, the Grind travels to a familiar hunting mecca on Lewis and Clark Reservoir.
It's a lifestyle for the rough and rugged kind. The tougher the game, the longer the pain, the better the ride. We do what we can to stay ahead, cause the modern world wants us left for dead. You better believe as long as we breathe, the sun's gonna rise. We dig real deep, try a little harder, buckle down tight, go a little farther so we can look back and be proud of what we've done. Sometimes we gotta work under the gun. Don't sweat the battle, make sure the war's won. Keep on keeping on, cause the bottom line, it's a labor of love we call the grind.
The Grind is brought to you by Canadian Waterfowl Supplies, decoys and gear for marsh and field, Lucky Duck Premium Decoys, Masters of Deception, Dakota Decoy, Premium Gunning Decoys for demanding hunters, Wild Ear, Custom Fit Hearing Enhancement and Protection, Rio, the official ammunition of the Grind Waterfowl TV, Pro Drive, Shallow Water Outboards, Authentic Wyoming High Mountain Seasonings, Sitka, specialized outdoor wear and equipment, Delta Waterfowl, the Duck Hunters Organization, and these fine sponsors.
Located on the eastern side of the South Dakota-Nebraska border, which is the final impoundment of the Missouri River, Lewis and Clark Reservoir is 25 miles long with a surface area surpassing 30,000 acres, the smallest and furthest downstream of the Big Six impoundments of the Missouri River. This reservoir was implemented by the Pick Sloan Missouri Basin Program by the Flood Control Act of 1944. These reservoirs were built to provide flood control, irrigation, water supplies, hydroelectric power, and sediment control, but added benefits include fish and wildlife habitat. The entire Missouri River Basin offers millions of acres of public accessible land and water, now managed by the Army Corps of Engineers and respective state wildlife agencies. Of all the Missouri River reservoirs, Lewis and Clark has been filling up with sediment at a faster rate, and this has caused some of the greatest waterfowl habitat along the Missouri River. When you look at the upper third of this expansive impoundment, you will find a tangled web of channels, backwaters bays, wetlands, and islands that are ideal shallow water roosting and rest areas for traveling ducks and geese. Because this hunting opportunity is public, these birds can be accessed by any hunter who has the right equipment. Large boats that can take on big water yet offer a shallow draft for getting over shallow bars are necessary. This week, the Grind tackles this big water with the new 18-foot Pro Drive TDX to explore tucked-away pockets in search of a wonderful mixed bag of ducks and geese.
Well, this is the first morning of our annual hunt down in South Dakota, wild stretch of the Missouri River, and there's some ducks around, but we're still waiting for a good push to come down.
Well, we are 3 days before Thanksgiving, which usually in South Dakota we're covered up with ducks, southeast corner of South Dakota, and it's been a weird year, El Nino year. 2 days ago, or 3 days ago now, we got 12 inches of snow, and the snow line is really only about 60 miles north of us, so it didn't really push any ducks from northern South Dakota down here yet. The snow is actually holding them up a little bit, so we've been killing a few ducks, a few geese, so we're gonna go out there and get set up. Looks like we got good sun, good wind. Should be a good day. We'll see what we can get done here.
Bill's out setting deeps right now. We've got groups Mallards set up off to the right a little bit in the center of the spread, and we've got the Canada geese off to the left, keeping them in their groups with the ducks and geese separate. And then we've got a little bit of traditional U or J hook with the luckies that are going to be right in the middle. Hopefully that'll bring the ducks right in.
What I'm doing here is we've kind of figured out ducks like Canada decoys, and we typically run the Canada decoys straight upwind of us. We're supposed to have a west-northwest wind, which will give us a right to left shot today. And the ducks will typically come in, they'll come right up into the wind, up to the Canada decoys and stop. So we build a wall with our Canada decoys as a stopping point for the mallards. Sometimes they'll plop down on the duck decoys. Most of the time they'll come right up to the edge of the goose decoys. So we leave our hole right in front of the blind. Typically it works out pretty well. The area we've been hunting is it's the Missouri River. It's the last impoundment on the Missouri River, actually part of the Lewis and Clark project. All the marsh that was created was created because of the runoff and the sediment coming out of the Niobrara River. What it's done is just created this beautiful habitat for waterfowl. They aren't quite sure what they're going to do with all the sediment that keeps dumping in, but for now it is quite a place to hunt ducks and geese. We are in the Central Flyway. I call it the center of the Central Flyway. We get a lot of birds out of Saskatchewan. We get a lot of birds out of Manitoba here, actually. And North Dakota and South Dakota breed tons of ducks. And they all tend to end up in this area at some point on their migration south. Typically this time of year, the water north of us is froze up, and the majority of the birds have to hit the open water, which is the Missouri River. And this year with the warm weather, we've just been kind of stuck. The birds are hung up north of us. They've got plenty of feed, plenty of water, and it sounds like maybe there's a weather change coming, but this is very late in the year for this place to be stale.
Get him, Tim, get him.
Good shot. Max.
So you can really tell when birds are getting stale on you. They're flying high. They'll give you a couple circles, but they don't drop like they normally do. We've even had some that come over and they just keep passing. You call at them and they don't even turn and look a second time, and you know they've been around here for a while. You just keep trying. Each flock of ducks you see, you call at them with the hopes that they are going to come in, and you just got to keep your hopes up and treat each flock of ducks like a new flock of ducks. And you'll get a few to come in, and that's good. And you do your best. We're literally right on the edge. It's late. It is about ready to happen. The next week to 2 weeks is going to be really good down here. We just missed the timing a little bit.
We are the week before Thanksgiving. This typically is a perfect time to be here. Actually, when I bring guests in, I usually tell them from Thanksgiving on is a great time to hunt. This year, right now, with the warm weather and the ducks stalled out north of us, we're kind of in the dead zone. A lot of the local birds that were here are gone, and the fresh birds we're waiting on haven't arrived yet. The frustrations we had in this particular hunt is we're hunting what we call stale birds. Get him, get him, get him, get him. Max. These birds have been here a while. They've seen it all, they've heard it all. Sometimes no calling's better than any calling, just because they are call shy, they're decoy shy. You just have to put up with it, and we try to keep the calling to a minimum. Ducks are really funny creatures, because these birds right now, for us, are stale birds. They're hard to decoy, hard to work with. These birds probably, we've always figured from here, head down to the North Platte, and it's like when a duck gets into a new area, he turns into a dumb duck again, basically. I mean, they're call responsive, they respond to decoys, so we just sit and wait for the new batch of ducks. Even though those ducks are getting hunted 100 miles north of us, they pop into a new area and they become what we consider new ducks and are much more cooperative. This stretch of South Dakota, South Dakota's broke into zones for hunting licenses. This particular zone is a season-long license, and there's only 250 of them available. You have to apply for the license like you do all South Dakota licenses. You just designate the zone you want. This zone, there are only 250 licenses, and typically the application for licenses is early July. They usually open at July 1, and I believe they close at maybe the 7th or 8th. So it's a short window there, so get your applications in. This stretch of river is border water. About 1.5 miles across is Nebraska. We're actually South Dakota residents. Residents of Nebraska and South Dakota can enter the water either side. Non-residents have to enter the water to hunt on the state they purchase a license in. It's wide open for residents. Nebraska has an unlimited amount of licenses available. The area we hunt, you do have to have that one of the 250 licenses as a non-resident, but it's a beautiful area. Max. Oh, single lone goose to the right. Coming low. Got the first honker of the day. He was a little wary, but we got him back in here, called him back in a couple times, and now he's gonna make a Christmas goose for us.
We're fortunate enough to hunt down here in southern South Dakota. We've got a couple great hunting partners. Bill from Dakota and his hunting partner Pat know this area like the back of their hand. And the good thing about hunting too is if you're with people you enjoy, and that's the true benefit of duck hunting, is you get to share a blind with others, and it's a lot of fun. We still had a great time, still told great stories, ate good food, so it made the hunt fun.
We're pretty spoiled here the way we hunt. We've got Camp Chef stove and ovens in pretty much all of our blinds, including our boat blind.
We're going to have a little breakfast burrito, really simple recipe, nothing special until you start to eat it. Some good sausage of your choice, nice sweet onions, a few eggs, some chili peppers, and a little Tabasco sauce if you like to have that. This grill top can be set on any 2 or 3 burner stove. It seems to fit nicely, and once it's greased up, it just stays that way. You don't wash it unless you absolutely have to. Just keep it greased up like an old skillet. I think it's going to last for years.
We used to bring peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which are still darn good, but typically about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, there's this smell coming from the other end of the blind. My partner Pat has fired up the cooking utensils, and we've had everything from chicken Kiev out there. We had some elk Polish sausages. Part of hunting is enjoying the people you're with, just enjoying being out, and we're lucky enough that we get to eat well too.
There we are, breakfast burrito. We'll see how that plays at the other end of the blind.
Shoot him.
we've got a really good wind right now. It's a southwest wind. They were calling it a northwest wind, which shouldn't make that big a difference for us. We usually run the geese upwind, and right now they're at the tail end of the decoys. But the biggest challenge I think we're facing right now is these ducks probably have been here for maybe 4 or 5 days, and they're real skittish. Normally we get a bunch of 10, 15 mallards like that, and they'll dump right into the decoys. But these ducks have been here a while. They've been shot at, so we're all got our fingers crossed, hoping for a new batch of ducks here in the next couple days. And typically that's what we'll get. They'll just kind of trickle in here. So tough day, but we're making the best of it.
Yeah, like Bill was saying, it has been a tough day, but sometimes if you wait it out, you might get some luck in the afternoon. They had good luck hunting yesterday afternoon, had some ducks come in. So we're gonna keep staying out here, stay the course, and see what happens.
Max.
So this year we've had a lot of warmer weather up north. North Dakota is just starting to ice up right now in the northern parts of North Dakota. Birds are still in the southern parts of North Dakota and the northern parts of South Dakota. Things are moving later this year for sure, and it's just something you have to adjust to and do your best at. And when you have time to hunt, hunt. And if you can hunt later, obviously try and hunt later in the year when you have these type of seasons.
Well, we finally got a little bunch of ducks in. Tim popped up with grass in his face. I popped up with a dog whistle and my wild ear lanyard in my face, and I believe Pat had 1 shell in his gun.
That's how you should not do it.
Yeah.
One thing in the hunting industry that's kind of fun is testing out the new products you've been working on developing, and we were able to do that a couple times on this hunt. A couple new on the water lucky ducks that we're coming out with. It's neat to see all the work that you put into them to get to this point where you got some good samples to hunt with. We were able to use a couple of them and they work good. A couple tweaks we still have to make to them, but they'll be ready for next year.
Coming from the right, Tim. Get ready. Shoot him, Tim. Basically what we do when we call these ducks out here is, I mean, pretty much just are highballing them, cadence of 5 quacks basically is what you put together, just a nice highball. Even when they're coming in, we just try to sound like an excited hen, happy to see them. We'll throw a few single quacks out there occasionally, and if we've got someone in the blind that's a good feed chuckler, we'll have them chuckle just for some background noise. But I'm a firm believer in just a nice little just try to sound like a hen greeting the flock coming in. Tim. Get ready. Boys. Good boy. Good boy. Big old bird, huh? Big old bird. Good boy. Well, we're winding up our first run of South Dakota. We're on day 3. I've hunted here since I was 20 years old. I've never seen this few of birds here. They're stacked up north of us, really as close as 100 miles. We shot a few birds.
We missed a few. You're guilty of that. We had a good time, good company, enjoyed the blind together, and that's part of hunting too. It's having a great time with the people you're with. And we certainly did that.
Oh yeah.
Visit our website, www.thegrindwaterfowl.com, where you will find past episodes as well as tips and tactics from the boys here at The Grind. Follow The Grind on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.